Last year, Nerdeen was down on that corner.
That's right.
When we were renaming Frederick Douglass Square. And she came in solidarity with like what we talk about. The straight up solidarity between the Palestinians and the Black Liberation Movement. And she spoke very eloquently and pointedly about the basis of that unity. So it's very humbling for us to honor and welcome Nerdeen back to, now we got a whole block, Nerdeen. First it was just a corner. This time we took the block. We told the B-44 bus they got to make a right turn because they go to the right anyway. So we want to welcome our assistant, our comrade, Sister Nerdeen.
Thank you so much. Hello everybody, my name is Nerdeen Kiswani and I'm from Within Our Lifetime United for Palestine. I'm honored to be here with the December 12th movement. And I'm honored to see so many of y'all who I've seen consistently at Palestinian protests show up here as well. Because this means that we understand and we know that you cannot have Palestinian liberation without Black liberation. You cannot have the liberation of any oppressed people without Black liberation. And we are honored to stand with December 12th movement, another grassroots organization, very similar to having a very similar mission as Within Our Lifetime. Our mission as Within Our Lifetime is to revitalize the revolutionary spirit of Palestinians abroad in pursuit of a free homeland, in pursuit of the liberation of our people. And I see December 12th movement agitating, educating, and organizing, revitalizing the revolutionary spirit of Black people in this country in pursuit of Black liberation. I'm honored today, especially on Juneteenth, as one of the markers of liberation, of Black liberation, that is still not complete. As we see in the sign here, we are not yet free. Similar to what Palestinians are going through in Palestine, with IDF, with Israeli police attacking our people, essentially committing a genocide against our people. There too is a genocide against Black people in this country. By law enforcement and by white supremacists who run the streets amok, similar to how they do in Palestine, threatening the lives of Black people. Just like Zionist white supremacists threaten the lives of Palestinian people in our homeland. The NYPD, which has killed so many Black people in this country, has an office in Tel Aviv, has an office in so-called Israel. It's paid for by the NYPD Police Foundation, who also pays for a lot of the training, a lot of the PR that goes on to cover these oppressive forces. Police descended from slave patrols.
That's right. That's right.
And the Israeli army and the Israeli police descended from the Zionist white supremacist terrorist militias, the Irgun and the Haganah that carried out the Nakba, that carried out the genocide of people. And on top of all this, they share strategies. Israel trains countless police forces in the US, including the NYPD, and they share intelligence and strategies back and forth on how to oppress our people. This is why, when there was an uprising in Ferguson, and Ferguson police used tear gas against protesters, against people who were righteously angry and righteously resisting against police murder of Black people, yet again, Palestinians were tweeting from Palestine telling them how to deal with tear gas, that milk is better than water, that using onions helps flush out the tears from their eyes. They knew this because the same tear that's being manufactured in the US is used against our people in Palestine and black people in the US whenever we try to uprise, whenever we try to resist.
Same enemy.
And I want to say this part especially to all my Palestinian people here, all my people who came to learn about black liberation, who knew about Palestinian liberation. I want you to understand that our responsibility as a Palestinian organization and Palestinian people in the belly of the beast is materially contributing to the liberation of oppressed people held in the prison house of nations, the United States. We have a responsibility to the Black liberation movement. As an organization, we have always said from day one that the best thing we can do for Palestinian liberation in the US is to fight for black liberation. As one of the most historically oppressed groups with the greatest revolutionary principles and history fighting in this country, without black people laying the groundwork for us here, none of us would be able to fight against oppression. And we know that if we follow our black comrades, we will be guided to the path that will lead to the liberation of all oppressed people. Assata Shakur once said, "The victory of oppressed people anywhere in the world is a victory for black people. Each time one of imperialism's tentacles is cut off, we are closer to liberation." The struggle in South Africa is the most important battle of the century for black people. And the defeat of apartheid will bring Africans all over the planet closer to liberation. Imperialism is an international system of exploitation. And we as revolutionaries need to be internationalists in order to defeat it. This is why internationalism and anti-imperialism is one of our points of unity. One of the main 4 points of unity that we have. Because we understand in every way, mathematically, materially, in principles, if we don't stand with black liberation, we are actually going against our own liberation. We are not doing anything for Palestine, and we're fighting for it the wrong way. Just like our oppressors come together to oppress us, we have to come together to share our strategies, lessons, and experiences, and build off of our struggles, understanding that they are necessary to liberation. And only with reparations, land back, return, and international solidarity can we actually fight for it. This is why we must also support reparations for black people. This is part of what this rally is about. It's not just that the empire owes this to black people in this country, but it's also to topple the structures that operate on the legacy of prisons and slavery. And we know that the only way to achieve this in resistance. So I'll end with this. We must insist that black people and Palestinians be protected in their right to resist and their right to defend themselves. It is black people in the US and Palestinians back home who are resisting on the front lines of the global struggle against imperialism, against the fascist chokehold by police in this country. And we must elevate the demand for return, reparations, and resistance. It is resistance that unites us from Palestine to New York City. And we say, there is no rest until full reparations, there is no rest until full liberation, and there is no rest until return. Thank you.
Good job.